How we doing, meteorologist Steve Fendero here again. We have a new issued tornado warning for the city of Virginia Beach. This is for the north end, and this means business. So we're talking about a thunderstorm with the potential of a area of rotation, potential of a tornado right across the north end, Cape Henry, right through the Lynn Haven Inlet, Broad Bay Colony, Atlantic Ave up that way, Fort Story. A lot of lightning, and we're talking about a big area of rotation with the potential for not only winds of 60, 70 miles an hour, because that would be within the thunderstorm, but with a area of rotation, a tornadic threat near the Lynn Haven Inlet, we're talking about winds over 70, 80 miles an hour. So this means we got to get away from the windows. If you're in northern parts of Virginia Beach, you got to get to the most interior part of your home, the lowest level of your home. Do not be outside by any means. Again, this is Fort Story right around the north end as we head into the evening. This warning goes to about 6:15 as we move into the next, let's say that's the next 30 minutes or so. So zooming in, we're looking at an area of rotation right over the Lynn Haven Inlet, Chicks Beach, Chicks Oyster Bar, Lynn Haven Drive, Ocean Shore Avenue, all those high rises there. If you're in those high rises for the weekend, coming in from something in the water, get down to the lowest level and use the stairs to do so to get away from the windows, okay? Moving to the northeast rather quickly, 20, 30-ish miles an hour. It's going to be moving offshore here quickly. The National Weather Service was kind of holding on, hoping they wouldn't have to issue this severe this tornado warning. But the area rotation we're watching, I'm going to highlight it for us right here, is just over Mariners Mark Way, Silver Sands Circle. Again, that's right near the Lynn Haven Inlet, just on the other side of the inlet from the Brock Environmental Center. Again, that's Chicks Oyster Bar down that way, the Porch as well. There's a wedding venue down that way as well. That area right around the water, we're looking at an area of rotation with the potential for winds over 60, 70 miles an hour. So please, please, please get away from the windows. This means business and is moving to the north and the east. I would go ahead, Jeff.
Taller buildings in the area, and I know there's a lot of taller buildings right along Shore Drive. It's good time just to go into that safe room. You don't have to go down to the lowest level if you're in one of those larger high-rise. Just get away from the windows. Our camera at the Lynn Haven Inlet, I know you know of that view. That camera is down right now. I was looking around just a few moments ago, and now I just lost it, so I don't have any view from the Lynn Haven Inlet. I did not see anything but heavy rainfall, so this isn't the type of area where you could see a tornado moving across your neighborhood. This is a storm where the tornado would be hidden inside and wrapped by the rain. So there's nothing to see. The only thing that you should be seeing right now, just turn the volume up on your television set and get to the safe room. This is for the north end of Virginia Beach. This is also into areas including Fort Story and along Shore Drive. The area of the heavy rain and the lightning is over your area. The spot of the most significant rotation is mostly just to the north and east of the Lynn Haven Inlet. So this is right from areas coming off of Shore Drive and continuing on Shore Drive, and also the route that takes you right into Great Neck. A lot of businesses, a lot of homes in this area. If we look to see if there's any storm debris, I'm not seeing any signs so much of that right now. Even if we bring it back in the last few minutes, I'm not quite seeing too much of that. It appears that something's trying to pop up, but there still is a possibility where there could be an area of rotation and also a spot where there's a tornado in that area. Steve?
Yeah, I was just looking at the velocity. You could flip over to max 1. We got a pinging area of winds over here, 70, 75 miles an hour. So maybe that area of rotation shifting a little bit. This is all open. We know this is the hiking trails up here, and again, right towards the ocean view this way, or excuse me, Fort Story. So maybe the air.
Road area down there.
The Alaskan area, as this kind of shifts a little bit to the east, that's probably where the rotation is going, because this is all open. Go out here for the hike, walk the dog, take the kayaks out. This is Windward Shore Drive, Bay Island, Cypress Swamp Drive as well. I would pin, if there is any of that tornadic activity, further where there's more room for this thing to kind of spin up a little bit. But again, you're in the tornado warning in the Fort Story area or in the north end of Virginia Beach. Again, you got Lynn Haven. If you are east of the inlet, please get to that safe spot. If you're west of the inlet, I wouldn't give you an all clear, but I would say just sit back and get away from the windows. If you are east of the inlet, get to that safe place. Again, that center location.
Just turning off the transparent, just so you can kind of get everyone can get a map where they are at.
Jeff's lowering the transition just as we could see here. just a little bit as well. Again, you've got Chick's Oyster Bars over here. You got the porch. You've got Mariners Mark Way. Starts to get into the state park out this way towards Fort Story. Great area to be out and about on a beautiful day, but not today. So make sure you're hanging in. A lot of the hotels up towards Shore Drive as well, with a lot of folks in town for something in the water. Just get away from the windows and get to that safe spot as well. As the rotation is starting to shift a little bit to the north, Jeff, may look like it's starting to move right over Fort Story.
Yes, it is.
Moving pretty quickly here, getting a little bit of speed because we're moving away from any sort of high rises and anything like that. North end of Virginia Beach, the area of rotations to your west, I don't see it really threatening you all that much, but just hang tight here, please, for the next 15-20 minutes as this thing moves to the north. Again, that's closer to Fort Story, Beach Access Road, Cape Henry out this way. So north end of Virginia Beach, just hang tight. If you are east of the inlet, out towards the Bay Island area, Atlantic Ave, as it makes its way closer to Fort Story.
One thing I'm going to add on here too, Steve, is I'm going to turn on, and you can see on screen, see this area, and this is actually not disappearing. This is a storm debris. So you see the areas of the lighter colors here. At first I thought maybe have been an artifact, and it wasn't accurate, but now I'm starting to be convinced that it could be the possible spot where there's a tornado. Because if I scrub this back in time, you can see that it appears here in the previous frame over Bay Island, and then it shifts more to the north. So I'm not certain, but it's something that it could be where there's some debris within the storm itself.
And that's exactly where we picked up that 70-plus mile an hour wind gust.
Exactly.
Within the rotation was just near the Bay Island area. So and again, this is all the tree area here in the state park. So that could be some of the trees getting taken down or anything like that. And look, there it moves right over.
There it moves over there. So there's 3 scans right there where we have that data.
Where that pocket is there, and that could be at least a funnel picking some stuff up. And the National Weather Service is going to have to take a deep dive look at that one as well. That's where the lightning is as well.
Yep.
Moving over the bay. Fortunately here, though, if that's the area we are highlighting as the greatest threat, it's starting to move over the bay, and it's picking up speed. It's starting to move over the bay. So
we don't have our Lynn Haven Inlet camera right now. I think it went down. They must have a power hit or internet went down there.
We wouldn't be able to see anything anyway.
Yeah, it'd just be all rain.
And we all know that because it's been soaking rain all evening, and there's been a ton of thunder and lightning all evening as well. But this tornado warning, let's just refresh here, goes to 6:15, all right, and the chance for potential tree damage, potential power lines coming down. We talked about a little bit of a debris signature there. That's that factor we look at. This warning goes to 6:15. We're going to hang with you until the National Weather Service either drops this or keeps this going as that area rotation, and where all that lightning is that Jeff is showing you is starting to move offshore.
That's right. I'm just reading some information here, Steve. Because I'm getting some information from our meteorologist, Ricky Matthews, as well. He's noticing that area with that strengthening we saw, that may be debris signature as that moves over the water. If we could switch over to Max 2, please, Chris. So thank you for that. So we're watching this thunderstorm right here. Here's a look in just the last few minutes. Now, we don't see anything that clearly looks like a tornado on radar. It's all about when we go to the debris signature. And that's the area of this lighter color right here. So this is at 5:49 p.m. You can see we don't have it there, but once we get to 5:50 p.m., and we're going to look at this. So I'm going to go back to my computer here in a second, but you see this area of white right here? Look at the scale. You can always use the legend at the top. So we have areas of red. That's precipitation once we get into the yellows and into the greens. And once it's zoned in on more of a circular type of shape, that's where we have the area where there could be some storm debris. And you can see how that advances with time, how that spot moves over Fort Story. So possible tornado, maybe a quick touchdown in this area, and moving to the north and now moving out over the water. So we've seen conditions improve. Yes, the tornado warning continues until 6:15 p.m. There may be a tornado over the water. Steve, if you could zoom out just a touch more so we get the bottom of the eastern shore on the map on here to see the trajectory of this thing. So if that's the tornado, which it could easily be, I've seen this happen before, so this isn't something that's new. Maybe you know that you've never seen this before, but I've seen this on radar before. Sometimes when we get storms and severe weather, we had it during Tropical Storm Isaias when that had an area of rotation that moved over the swamp and went into that bank into Suffolk. We had that same signature. This is moving to the north and east. So here's Kip to Peak Park. Here's Cape Charles. This should stay on a trajectory and a path that will miss your area. So you're looking fine for the eastern shore. and that just heads over basically some of these small island beaches and things like that here. Not where we have population, but where we do have population, Virginia Beach, you have that warning that goes until 6:15, and that was around Fort Story, also towards the Lynnhaven Inlet. We'll have to kind of watch, wait, and see what happens once this rain starts to let up. But there is an area where there's a possible tornado that we can see on the radar. We don't have any cameras in this area where we can see that. There are some cameras towards the ocean front right now, but there's just too much rain, so we couldn't even tap into those to even see what's going on far to the north. But there's a signature right here where there's rotation. We've had that for the last little bit. There's a signature where there's a storm debris ball. We've seen that moved through Fort Story, so that's the area of rotation. So we're seeing a lot of things that would have indicated that there is a tornado over the water right now, a lot of lightning in that area too, a little bit of a notch on the radar. I can see that analysis right there. So there's a lot of little hints and things that indicate that there may be a tornado within that storm as that moves over the bay into the ocean, kind of that fine line of what is called the bay, what's called the ocean, kind of right in that zone. Fisherman's Island, we still have that possibility to see the storm move into your area. I'll get out of the way so you can put that on the left side if you want, Steve.
Yeah, just
Kipta Peak as well. We're going to have to watch your area closely towards Capeville Elementary and the community around that elementary school. Keep a close eye on this. You're not on a warning right now. Where we do have the warnings are for the south side. We don't have any concerns right now, I see, for North Carolina, also into the rest of the Hampton Road cities in the south side. There's a lot of heavy rain, though, and there's a little bit of ponding and flooding going on throughout the peninsula. But in terms of that tornado warning, we have seen that tornado likely appear on radar with that debris signature, and now that's moving to the north and to the northeast, should be over the water. I'm not going to say you're in the clear yet in that warning. Steve, if we could zoom in towards the north end and into this area here, past Great Neck, Allenton area, there's still a lot of rain coming into your region. There's still some strong wind into your area as well. But this is mostly just going to be a lot of wind and rain. I'm not seeing so much rotation. If we could just double check that on radar to see if there is any rotation in this area. Some wind, but we're not seeing that tight couplet like we had earlier over Fort Story, earlier also around the Lynnhaven Inlet, and now over the water, over the bay and moving into the ocean. A lot of wind with this storm. That's what we're kind of seeing with these thunderstorms. A quick spin up and we get that tornado, and that's where that threat has been throughout the entire day. But now that area appears to be kind of broadening out in size. Still a lot of lightning with that, but that's hanging out over the water right now. Otherwise, just a lot of heavy rain into the area. Steve?
I would say, again, we're going to use the inlet as our reference point here. If you're west of the inlet, Lynnhaven Inlet, you're in the clear of the tornado warning. Still all the rainfall and a good amount of the lightning as well. If you're to the east of the inlet, just hang tight here up until really the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. The warning will go to about 6 o'clock or so. So we popped on air about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago to give you the information about the tornado warning. You're watching Wavy News 10 at 6 o'clock. We're just going to refresh, start here at the 6 o'clock hour, continue this as we continue our coverage here of the tornado warning for the northern parts of the north end, northern parts of Virginia Beach. But again, the area of rotation that Jeff and I were really watching is over the bay right now, right to the right on the other side, pretty much right to the east of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel there. This was what we really were concerned about. There could have been a quick little spin up, a quick touchdown, a little bit of some debris maybe picking up over the state park, maybe some of the tree branches, things like that. Even if there wasn't any sort of rotation, these are thunderstorms that are capable of producing tree damage, bringing down some power lines, producing winds of 60 miles an hour plus. So we've been watching that. Fortunately, the other severe thunderstorm warnings have been dropped through parts of northeast North Carolina and the south side. So it's really just a whole lot of rainfall and a couple rumbles of thunder here or there as this rain starts to move in. But it's just this one pocket where there's been a great amount of sunshine for a good chunk of the day to heat things up, and now that really helped create the area of rotation. But again, that's now over the bay. We did ping some wind gusts around 75-ish miles an hour. So even if that is part of a rotating thunderstorm or not, that's enough to bring some things down, bring some tree branches, bring some power lines down or not. So again,
and Steve, I got just to confirm that report that we have, a local storm report from the National Weather Service. A National Weather Service employee reported a tornado at 5:50 p.m. Trees down onto a vehicle near Great Neck Middle School. And also there is reports of maybe an injury with that, too. So we're going to have to get some more information from our news desk about that coming up in a little bit. We'll have to also see if we can send a crew once conditions improve to be a little bit safer into that area. But we did see that debris signature on radar.
Yeah, and that just goes, these things have been verifying. They have been producing damage, whether they are tornadic or not. But again, there could have been that small little stretch here across the north end where that was that tornado and to produce some damage here. So we're going to get some more information on that as the evening progresses here. So again, the trees downed on a vehicle near the Great Neck Middle School. Reports of an injury or so. There was the tornado debris signature, and what that to us is essentially the things that may be picked up and flown in the air from any said tornado. And our radars can pick that up because our radars just scan what's going on in the atmosphere. They scan the raindrops, they scan which direction the rain's going, so that helps us determine where the rotation is, and then it also can pick up anything that's not a raindrop, anything that may be a little bit bigger or more obscure in shape. And we did notice that, again, that was just to the east of the inlet there near the Great Neck Middle School. And again, for that small stretch, cruised across the north end there through Fort Story. So that was where that tornado was reported by, you said it was a National Weather Service employee.
Yes.
Reported a tornado. So that short amount of time near Great Neck Middle School or so. So we'll get some more information as that goes on. Right now, though, the greatest threat with this tornado warning, Jeff, or at least from that tornado, that's way up here now. That's where all this lightning is right now. So the intensity kind of moving up towards to the bay. So that's where all that is. I still want to focus on this, Jeff, on this thunderstorm because there's still a lot of heavy rain zooming into southern parts of the, refresh my memory. Why can I not think of the name of the state park there where you all run around?
First Landing State Park, yes.
I take my dog there all the time. I cannot remember the name of it. So just on the southern side of First Landing State Park here, a lot of heavy rain there, Allenton, Mill Dam Road as well. So just hang tight here, stay away from the windows. A lot of lightning with this thunderstorm. It still has a capability of producing winds upwards of 60 miles an hour because this is still a severe thunderstorm itself. But for the north end, Virginia Beach, Cavalier Park, down through the ocean front, all across 264, Linkhorn, it's just heavy rain and it's just a lot of lightning with the potential for some damaging wind. And some of these thunderstorms, there was a report of some trees down in northeast North Carolina with just a thunderstorm. So you still could get some trees down, a tree branch down or two, power lines, things like that or so. But the main headline, again, going to be that tornado near the Great Neck Middle School in the north end of Virginia Beach. Again, that was reported from the National Weather Service here, right about here. Here's Adam Keeling Road. This 279 here. This is going up towards the north end.
Yeah, towards Shore Drive. Yep, exactly.
Shore Drive
right off Great Neck Boulevard, yeah.
And it's really when all this opened up near First Landing State Park that the thunderstorm used that to kind of have some room to be able to spin up and develop that tornado. So I would put the track of this from about, we're talking about near Great Neck Middle School through Broad Bay Road, through Bay Island, Cypress Swamp Drive there, Windward Shore Drive as well. That's kind of what I'm thinking here, Jeff, was the path.
Possible.
Of this. Yeah, so First Landing State Park, definitely going to have some trees down through there. Could be some potential damage across Bay Island, Windward Shore Drive as well. Not seeing anything now of any reports now. Hopefully everyone has been inside, just kind of away from the windows and notice things get real nasty there for a quick second as this thunderstorm blew on through. Are we getting anything new from the National Weather Service from the chat there, Jeff?
No, not seeing anything. No, not seeing anything new right now. They're just continuing other marine warnings that they've issued. So that's good news. I'm not seeing a major concern for the city of Virginia Beach right now compared to where we were earlier. I believe they're just going to let this tornado warning expire on its own, which would be in about 10 minutes from now. But there was a lot much more concern earlier, obviously, with a tornado that we had reported in this area. We've got it confirmed, at least seen from the National Weather Service. A National Weather Service employee reported a tornado in this area. Let me just turn that icon on so you can see it right here on the screen. This is near Great Neck Middle School. At least one person reported to be trapped inside of a vehicle, and we saw that tornado debris signature that was on radar. So what does that kind of look like? So in the future, when we are looking at a chance for seeing a debris signature, we're looking at this product here, and we're looking at an area where there's maybe a hole or a spot of white in this area, and that's this zone right here, and that was moving to the north. I remember looking at radar a few moments ago, and when this was happening at the time, I saw that area. Wasn't quite certain on it yet, but it did look like it. Kind of in the back of my mind, I thought that. And then once we got that next scan a minute or two later, it confirmed it. So that was the tornado that we saw on radar. You can see it. It's an area where there's not rainfall inside of the cloud. It's an area where there's debris inside of the cloud. Maybe parts of a tree or other objects from even a structure. That's what we were seeing earlier. Thankfully now we're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing conditions that have greatly improved without any of those signatures appearing on radar. Just an area of heavy rain moving through Virginia Beach, through the ocean front. Get off your hotel balconies. If you're at the ocean front, there's lightning around your area. You don't want to be on a hotel balcony. Even though it's not raining, lightning can strike the balcony where you're standing. So get back inside the hotel room if you're in here for something in the water, and just continue to watch it from the hotel room that you're in. You should be fine across the ocean front as we go into tonight. As we look also for the north end of Virginia Beach, you are in the tornado warning, but things are looking a lot better now as that apparent tornado moved just to your north, missing the north end of Virginia Beach. But for spots near Great Neck Middle School, where we had that tornado report, that was reported from a National Weather Service employee, and that was just a few moments, about 3 minutes after the tornado warning was issued. That tornado may have touched down in that area. Steve?
So Jeff, Michelle just informing me now over from the anchor desk, something in the water, the festival's canceled for the rest of the evening tonight, just because of the inclement weather and what's going on. So now let's question what's next, what's moving forward. So the main threat with the tornado that we have seen is moving and has moved over the waters of the Chesapeake Bay. Director Chris Tate, if we could punch Max 1 just real quick, because I want to show you the velocity about what's next to go. So here is, that's 13, that's a Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, Cape Charles. This is the southern tip of the eastern shore. For reference, Hampton's over here. The area of rotation that we were looking at, not really anything prominent, so to speak. We look at which direction the rain is flying around as the radar scans the thunderstorm activity, and there isn't anything that is really denoting that area of rotation continuing. Sometimes they tend to flare back up over water and over an open water, but I think at this point this has kind of been joint and clustered into the thunderstorm action that's been moving off of the peninsulas itself. So really the threat of that tornado to continue over the waters is starting to diminish. That's a good sign for those on the eastern shore because you're just getting some of that heavy rain moving in now. So up next, we were looking at and we were watching the threat of the tornado to maybe approach the southern tips of the eastern shore. Not necessarily the case right now, so that's some good news as well. Eastern shore, just anticipate a whole lot of rainfall, potentially some damaging wind, and a whole lot of lightning as well. Still even some hail with some of these thunderstorms out there, Jeff. I know we haven't gotten anything confirmed with some hail, but that's also been a potential.
Yeah, also, maybe some small hail is possible, but one thing that we're watching, though, is we did get that report of the tornado from the National Weather Service, and also we got that report of that that person that may have been trapped inside of a vehicle, too, from a tree that fell down onto the vehicle from that tornado. So a lot of things that we're watching within that storm. Other areas, though, Steve, are really looking pretty good. Some strong wind gusts for the Outer Banks here recently. I'm seeing some reports of some stronger wind gusts closer to Manteo and also near possibly Nags Head, Kill Devil Hills. There could be wind gusts around 40 to 50 miles an hour as that line moves through. Not seeing any warnings in your area, but even though the rain doesn't look as intense for the Outer Banks, it's getting some strong wind from that line moving through, so don't be too alarmed by that. The spot what we're watching is for the city of Virginia Beach. The warning continues for another 3.5 minutes. We also have flood advisories for the peninsula as well with some heavy rain, but the tornado threat, I believe, for the city of Virginia Beach, the north end, has moved away. Now it's for the eastern shore. Not the tornado threat, but there's a high gust of wind moving close to Cape Charles. We don't have a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning in Cape Charles, but I'm going to say time to get inside in Cape Charles because you got some strong wind that's going to come right off of the bay at 50 miles an hour or stronger than that. Think of it like this. When you have wind over water, that wind doesn't have really any friction to slow it down. The wind moving over land has buildings, it has trees. That causes a little bit of friction. It causes it to slow down a bit. But when that wind comes off of the water, it's generally smooth. So it slides right in, and it could be quite strong for Cape Charles if this storm continues to be strong. Hopefully it'll weaken, and it won't be a problem. But it's just this area of wind that's coming in with this storm moving to the north. The spot where there is that tornado, likely that zone has moved out over the ocean or moving over the ocean here soon. Just heavy rainfall for the rest of the area. Suffolk, you're clear. Wakefield, you're clear. Williamsburg, you're just getting rain. Same thing into the Middle Peninsula. You're going to be just fine. That's the thing about this. You're wondering, why are we talking about all of this bad weather when it's just raining at your house? Well, it's for this tornado warning here. And this is what we have seen move through the area. It looks like the threat has just started to move out. They're going to let this warning expire on its own in about 2 minutes from now. And we'll be looking a lot better as we go into tonight. Steve?
I was just going to say, Jeff, take Max 2 really quick. I'm going to chat over here with Michelle to see if there's any other intel I can get about something in the water.
Yeah, so the city basically said that they met with festival organizers and the National Weather Service, and that all festival activity is canceled for tonight.
Okay, just for the inclement weather, the thing's just not looking good. Couldn't get any of these shows off or anything like that, which, I mean, rightfully so.
And also the warning has been allowed to expire from the National Weather Service. They have a crew that's already doing some storm survey right now. They're going to have details on that. We'll have details on that coming up in the morning.
Coming up in the morning as well. Of course,
Yes.
I'm assuming we're going to send a crew over there as well to see what the scene is like. Raven Payne is likely moving out there as well to see what's going on, see if we can get any pictures, any video to show you the potential of some of this damage. And this is why we take these things seriously. I know many of you may have been frustrated because we interrupted some of the programming on NBC here for the thunderstorms. Oh, this is just a thunderstorm. It's just a thunderstorm. But this is why we do exactly why we do this, because there is that threat. There is that chance for some of this to be life-threatening. That's why it is severe weather. So we're going to gather some more information on this situation. Of course, we got such a rainy rest of our evening here. We're going to have more on the forecast here coming up in a little bit in the next couple of minutes. Again, this tornado warning is going to expire here in the next 30 seconds or so. A whole lot of rainfall for pretty much the entirety of our region, outside of a few pockets of some dry stuff near northeastern North Carolina. So all in all, things are improving. There's still going to be some gusty winds around the eastern shore, some lightning and some loud rumbles of thunder here. But that extended forecast does have some brighter conditions and even some cooler conditions on the way. So we're going to get a better look at the full forecast here in a couple minutes. Again, as that tornado warning expires. Let's toss it back to. I'm going to see if we're going to toss this back to break. We're going to keep the show rolling here as the tornado warning again for that area of Northern Virginia Beach is expiring here at 6:15. We did have a report of some damage, a potential of an injury near Great Neck Middle School, and again in parts of the First Landing or so. 6 o'clock show. We'll be right back after this break. We'll be back with more news and weather for us. I'm going to toss things back to Michelle.